All right, this is Coach Ledbetter. I'm going to be going over the Unit 6B review. Even though it says 4 here, let's mark this out. It's really 6B. All right. So I'm going to do these so that way you can see how we do these. All right, the first question is the area of a rectangle garden. So let's pretend we have a little rectangle garden here. All right, there's our little rectangle garden. We can go in and smell the polynomials. All right, so anyway, we got our little rectangle garden. All right, it's asking us to find the length and width. All right, so the area formula for a rectangle is length times width. That means I'm going to multiply them, so that means I'm going to have two parentheses. All right, so I need two factors. When I multiply them, give me the trinomial here. So in class, we worked on something called the X game. So here we go, the X game. So remember the top is your A times C, and this is your B value. The B value is the number that we add them, and this is the one that we multiply. All right, so if you remember, this is A, this is B, this is C. Now we're talking about the numbers, so that's 1, the B is 11, and C is 10. All right, so if I want to multiply A and the C, that's 1 times 10, which is 10. So my number here is 10. My B value is 11. All right, so put 11 there. So now we're looking for two numbers, like these two guys here, multiply two numbers that when I multiply them, I get 10, but when I add them, I get 11. So I have to think of these two numbers. So I know that 1 times 10 is 10. If I add those, do I get 11? And yeah, the answer is yes. So put 1 and 10 there. And it doesn't matter which one goes where, 1 and 10. Now, since I don't have a number for the x squared, I can pretty much put x's in here. And then this is going to be 1 and 10. Since they're both positive, my signs will be both positive. And so that's my length and width. And I could check this using Desmos. I could put this in the y equals in Desmos and put this in the y equals Desmos, and I can find my answer. All right, so I'm going to do the next one. All right, so the same thing. So I'm going to do my little X game thing here. All right, my AC is going to be multiplied, my B. So 1 times 25 is 25. The B value is 10. Remember, this is A, B, C. I got to figure two numbers multiplied together that will give me 25, but when I add them, I get 10. This one's an easy. It should be 5 and 5. All right, so this will be open parentheses and close. Since it's x squared, we just put x in there, and we're going to say plus 5 plus 5. All right, this is what we call a perfect square. Okay, we could also write it x plus 5 with a little square on it. All right, so let's do number 3. Number 3, same thing. All right, my A times C, and this is my B. So this is my A, my B, my C. So this is 1. 1 times negative 35 is a negative 35. This will be negative 2. All right, so I got to think of two numbers multiplied together that will give me negative 35, but then when I add them, I get 2. All right, so I'm kind of thinking here, negative 35, and I need negative 2. Since this is a negative number, that means my biggest number will be negative. So let's try negative 6 times 5. All right, so if I take negative 6 times 5, that's a negative 35. If I add those, so negative 7 plus 5, I should get negative 2. So this will work. So I'll put negative 7 and 5 here. All right, because I don't have any numbers in front of my x, I can just do the double parentheses and put x's in there. And one of them will be negative 7. The other one will be a positive 5. All right, so the next one's a little different, number 4, because now instead of having 1 for the A value, I've got a 4. All right, and so we did this in our Desmo class, and I'm going to enlarge this a little bit so we can see this a little better because it looks like it's getting too small. So here we go, we're going to do this. All right, so the first thing I'll do is my X games. I'll do my A times C, and I'll have my B here. All right, so my A is 4, my C is negative 9, so this is going to be negative 36. My B value, remember this is your A, your B, your C. My B value is a positive 16. All right, so I've got to think what two numbers could I multiply together that will give me negative 36, but when I add them, I get 16, a positive 16. All right, so if I say, since this is positive, that means the bigger number is positive. So if I say negative 1 times 36, if I add that, that's going to be 35. So that's not going to work. All right, so if I try 2 and 18. 2 goes into 18. 2 goes into 36 18 times. Since this is a positive, I'll make my little one a negative. So if I add those up, that is 16. So that works. So we're going to put -2 and we're going to put 18. All right. So in this, we worked on also something called the box method. So here we go. We're going to use the box method. That's what we did in class. All right. So remember, the first box is my first term here. So this is 4n squared. The bottom box here, the -9, goes in the bottom here. These two guys go in here, and it doesn't matter which one you put it in. You can put it in either one. I'm gonna put the -2 here, and we had to put a letter n in there because remember we're trying to get 16 in. We're not just trying to get 16. We're trying to get 16 in. So we just put in for the two numbers here. So this will be 18 in. So see, 18 in minus 2n is a 16 in. All right. So now I got to find my factors. Okay, so this is where we need to kind of focus on. So we're going to look for the GCF. So let's start right here. I'm going to cover this part up. I'll try to cover it so I don't cover everything. All right, so we're looking right here at these two squares here, and we're going to try to put our GCF up at the top. So I got to look at these two. I got to look and see what's the biggest number I can divide into both of them, and can I take any letters out, and what's the most letters I can have. So first here, I got a 4. All right, 4 cannot be divided into 2 to get a whole number. So both of them look like it could be 2. So I'm going to divide by 2. If you also look, I can also I have 2 n's here and 1 in there. So I can take 1 n out. All right, so we did that one. Now we're going to do this side. All right, now what can I take out of both of them? I can't take an n because this one doesn't have an n. This one's a 9 and that's an 18. Well, 18 can also be 9 times 2. So I'm going to take a 9 out. And if I take a 9 out, that makes that will work because they're both 9. All right, so let's go back here. Now there's two ways. We can do GCF going this way and GCF going this way, or we can just do the multiplication part. I'm gonna do multiplication part. So what do I multiply here to 2n to get 4n squared? Well, 2 times what will give me 4? When you say 2. You have 2 n's, you have only 1, so you need another n. So we're gonna put an n here. If you look, this works. Look, 2 times 9 is 18. We have 1 n. There's our n. All right, so we're going to need to fill this one in, this right here. All right, so 2n. What do I multiply to 2n to make it a -2n? Well, hopefully you want to get it's -1. And then we can test the other one. -1 times 9 is -9. So look, these guys here are my factors. So my factors are going to be 2n minus 1 and 2n plus 9. Again, I can put this in decimals as y equals, and then put that as y equals and see if they make the same parabola. All right, so number 5. Number 5 is what we did in our little game in class. So if you notice, there's no middle term. When there's a middle term, that means you're going to have 2 parentheses. All right, both these parentheses are going to be the exact same thing, except one's going to be a negative and the other's going to be a positive. So you just look at them. What times itself gives me m squared? Well, m times m gives me m squared. What times itself gives me 16? And most kids think it's 8. It's not 8 because 8 times 8 is 64. That's 16. And hopefully you say 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. And so there's my factors for this problem right here. Go to number 6. Number 6 says, which of the following is a difference of 2 squares? Well, remember, they don't want you to do any math. They just want to identify the difference. Difference means subtract. So anything that has a positive in the middle is wrong. So that's wrong. 2 squares. Now remember, squares are like the square root, the symbol, the little 2 there. All right, so they're trying to get you to see which ones will make squares. Well, if you look, all of them are x squared, so that side's good. So, but what we want to do is we want to find a number, like let's say for 3 square, we're looking for something that's like a 9. So we're looking for a 9 or something like this, a number that you can multiply to itself to get the number. Remember, because 3 square is 3 times 3. So 3 squares. So we're looking for a difference of 2 squares. So we can actually put a minus here. We're looking for something that looks similar to this. So instead of an actual square, they can have a real number there. So let's look at A. A, some people think A is, but the problem with A is 11 times 11 is 121, but there's an X there. So you're saying, it's like saying you have 11 times 11x, and you can't do it. That's not the exact same thing, and that's not going to work. All right. The next one is x squared 5. So what two numbers multiply together that give you 5? And you'd hopefully say 5 times 5. That's a perfect square. So this one will work. All right. It's not this one, because what number times itself gives me 40? Well, none of the factors, if I multiply 1 and 40, 2 and 20, all right, they're just not going to work. 4 and 10, none of them are the same number. It just doesn't work. 8 and 5 is another one too. All right. This one here, what you're going to do is you're supposed to find out which one is not equivalent. That means not equivalent means equal. So not equal. All right. The best way to do this is with Desmos. So we're going to use Desmos on this. So I'm going to pause the screen so I can pull up my Desmos. And once I pull up my Desmos, then I will resume the screen. All right, so here we go. So now what we're doing is I pulled up Desmos. Remember, we're using the Texas Star one because we're in the state of Texas. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in Desmos. I'm going to put this as a y equals and this is a y equals. And so here we go. So y equals, and I'm going to type it in just like I said, 4x squared. All right, and there's our parabola. All right, so now I'm going to type in the answer that it's saying it's equal. All right, so there we go. So I'm going to show this screen a little bit bigger here. All right, so here is, when you're looking at this, you're looking at the color. Make sure your colors are not the same. So when I click on this cell, and you can tell I'm on this cell because it's in blue, you can see my parabola's in red. And if I click on the one below it, it's in blue. Okay, so you can see they're the same thing. Now, another way I could do it is I could turn things on and off like this. Okay, so you can see it's exactly the same thing. So these are equal. All right, and remember the question says which ones are not equal. So we know that this one is not my answer. So we're going to try another one. What's terrible about this is I'm going to have to type in all these every time all over. So here we go. We're going to do the next one. So y equals. There's that parabola. Now I'm going to type this one in. And there we go. So let's look at it. There's the green, there's the purple. So those are equal. Again, we're looking for the one that says not equal. So we're going to get rid of that one. Now we're going to try the next one. If this one is not it, if this one's equal, then we know that it's got to be D. All right, so we're going to try this one. And so now look at this one. There's the black, there's the red. I don't know about you, but they look pretty even to me. I don't see anything. I'm gonna zoom. Yeah, look, black, red, same thing. So we know it's got to be the last one. And we're gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna go ahead and do it just so you can see, so I can prove to you. I mean, it's possible I could be wrong, but this is a pretty good chance that I got this one right. Okay, I'm gonna put the second part in. So there we go. And look, if you look at this, you can tell these are not lined up. Oh, these are not lined up. Okay, so here's that one. I can even take that. There's that one. And then I see that one. They're not lined up. So D is my answer here. It's obviously not the right answer. All right, so we're going to turn over. I'm going to go back to full screen and just minimize that for a second, so because we're going to need it again later. All right, so let's look at this one. Find the area and the perimeter of the shape of the rectangle. All right, so remember, we need to look at this. Area is of a rectangle area is length times width. That means we're going to multiply these two together. So I'm going to take that 2x plus 5, take x minus 4. All right. I can do the box method or double distributive method. It doesn't matter. Let's do the box method for those that like the box method. So I'm going to put my box here. This is 2x. This is plus 5. This is x minus 4. So now multiply these two together, and I'm going to get 2x squared. I'm going to multiply the x and the 5 together. I'm going to get 5x. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, and it has an x on it. And negative 4 times 5 is a negative 20. Then I always combine the guys in the middle. Okay, remember this guy here is like a big plus sign. All right, so I know my first one is 2x squared. Negative 8 and a plus 5 is a negative 3. And most of you, a lot of kids mess up. Remember, these are the letter x, not x squared. Okay, see how you have a little 2 here? This should be a 1. It always goes in order, 2, 1, and then no x's. All right, and then the last guy is a minus 20. So that is my answer for the area. That is the area. Now, how do I find the perimeter? Well, if you remember, perimeter means add up all the sides. So if this is a rectangle, this here is 2x plus 5. This here is 2x plus 5. If this is x minus 4, this is x minus 4. Now, this is pretty simple. If kids mess up on this, add up all the x's. Well, that's 2 plus 1 more. Remember, that's a 1, so that's 3. 4, 5, because that's 2. And then 6. So my first one's going to be 6x. Now take your your numbers. 5 minus 4, that's 1. So 1 plus 5 is 6, and 6 minus 4 is 2. And there's my answer. All right, so here we go. We're on number 9. So number 9 is a little bit different. I want to kind of explain a little bit to you. Number 9, they're asking you to find the factors, and you know that's a trinomial. So usually we're looking for 2 factors, usually in parentheses, that when we multiply them, we get the trinomial. However, they're only giving us 1. All right, so most of these, if you look, they give you 2. See, like here's one with 2. This one, even these, they have 2. And so, but this one, they only give you 1. So how do you do this? Now, let me explain to you what you're looking for. What you're looking for is the one thing we want to do is we want to put this in Desmos. Okay, so if we put it in Desmos, we can see it better. So we got it. Let's pretend. I'm going to show you what we're kind of looking for. So we have a graph, all right, and we're going to have a parabola of some kind, U shape. That's what this little 2 is. U is 2 on a x square. Square makes a U shape. So it makes a little U shape. Okay. Now the x's over here we call these linear. Okay, because the x has an exponent of 1. All right. If you think about it, the number 1 really is a straight line going straight down. So these are going to make straight lines. All right. So what we're doing, and I'm just drawing this so you can kind of see it's not what we're doing. I'm just showing it. So what we're looking for is where my line touches the U line, the U-shaped line, and they're both touching in the same spot on the x-axis. Okay. So they have to touch, both of these have to touch, and they have to touch on the x-axis together. So I'm going to put these in Desmos. All right. So I'm going to go back to my Desmos. I'm going to minimize my screen here. I'm going to go back to my Desmos if I can get it pulled up here. All right, hit the X for both of them. All right, and I'm going to put this in first, right there. All right, so there's my parabola, and I'll fix it when I get closer. All right, so I'm going to start putting these in. So I'm going to put the first one in. Remember, we're hitting Y, and we're just typing 3x minus 2. Okay, so look, here's one. So this is a choice. If I look at it, and I'm going to zoom in, it looks like we need to zoom in here. Does my U shape and my line touch together, and are they touching on the x-axis altogether? So are they making a connection with each other and the x-axis in the same spot? And you can see, look, it's right here. So this is my answer. All right, now let me show you what they look like when they don't make it. I want you to see what happens when they don't make it. So we're just going to do it, and hopefully you can just kind of see it over here. I'm doing B right now. Okay, there's that one. Now, if we look at this one, you're going to see that they touch, the U shape and the line touch, but they're not touching on the x-axis together. See here, the purple and the red are touching right there, but they're not touching the x-axis at all together. They have to be touching all three in that same spot. So we know this one's not my answer. All right. We do know this one is. All right, so let me put in the next one. And look, that one's obviously not even touching anything. So we know that's not it. It would help if I put in the right number. Okay, so look, if we look at this one, you're like, wait a minute, this is touching. It's pretty close, but look, it's touching the x-axis here, but not, it has to be touching together. So the U shape and the line had to be touching the x-axis in the same spot. This one, this is where they're touching. It's not going to work. So this one is obviously my answer, because you can see that it's touching, the purple and the black are touching together right here on the x-axis. So that is my answer. Was the very first one. This guy is my first one. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Now, these are definitely a Desmos type answer. We only have a few of these, so it's not too bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these in Desmos. All right, so I'm going to go in here. All right, so I'm going to plug this in. This is my first equation. All right, in square root 2, and then I'm going to hit tab, minus 16. Oh, no, it's 36. Sorry, 36. 36. All right. Now, there is faster ways of doing this. You should know that there's no middle term, and you should say, since there's no middle term, then I'm going to have 2 parentheses. So, I mean, you really should know this. 2 parentheses, one's going to be a minus, one's going to be a plus, and they're going to be the exact same thing. All right. So we should know this, but for us to help on Desmos, we're going to graph it. Okay. So there it is right there. It was kind of hidden there. All right. So I'm going to type this in. So I'm going to type in y equals, and I'm going to open parentheses and put n minus 6, close the parentheses, and now I'm going to hit shift 6 and put the little exponent there. And you can tell those aren't the same. See how they're not together? So we'll be, or that one, we're going to go to the next one. And I don't know about you, but I know 18 times 18 is not 36. So, but I know this is not the answer. So we're still going to put it in there just so you can see. Open parentheses, n plus 8, I mean 18, n minus 18. And you can't, it's so big, I don't think you can see it. So we're going to, so you can see the whole thing. And I'm going to zoom out. And look, see how big it is? You can't even see it, but it's right there. Okay, so we know that's not the answer. Like I said, it's pretty obvious when you, if you know the rules, you should know what the answer is before doing all this. I mean, I really shouldn't, you shouldn't have to do all this. All right, so we're in the next one, y equals, open parentheses, x plus 6, close, open, x minus 6. And I'm using x's, but it doesn't matter. It can be n, x's, it doesn't matter, same thing. All right, look, and now, so now if I look at this, look, I'm gonna zoom in. All right, I can zoom out. Look, I only see one. So I click here, there's the purple, there's the blue. So we know this is our answer. So we know that this is our answer. And if you remember the game, remember what times what is n squared? It's n's. And what times what is 36? It's 6. So you should have n minus 36, I mean n minus 6, n plus 6. All right, so then the next one. Let's do the next one. All right, so the next one is another one. All right, I'll put the equation in. Y equals 2x squared plus 7x plus 4. So there's that one. All right, so the first thing I want you to notice, all right, so you can see it. I think we got it all typed in. I just want to make sure I got it typed in right. Okay, so now I'm going to put these factors in. So here we go. Y equals, open parentheses, 2x minus 1, close parentheses, open the parentheses, and then x plus 4. All right, so here's that one. Do I look at these? Are these the same? You can see, no, they're not. You can tell from here it's not the same. All right, so that's not my answer. All right, so let's put the next one in. Okay, you can tell these aren't this. This is not the same answer because they're. You see the green and black. You can see the difference in the two. They're already standing out. All right, so we'll take that one off. I can turn it off. All right, through this one. Oh, I wish I could type accurately every time so I wouldn't have to mess up, but that happens. Okay, so there we go. So let's look at it again. There's the green, there's red, and you go, wait a minute, this looks pretty close. So we're gonna look at it and you can see it is not, see how it looks different. We can even zoom in here. See, they're not the same. So wait a minute, we did the A, the B, and the C, and none of them match. So my answer here is there are no real solutions. So this means there's the ones they provided, none of them work. All right, so we know that that doesn't work. All right, so the last, we're on number 12. 12 is just like what we just got through doing before. We're going to put this in Desmos again, and we're going to find out which one it is. Now, let's try to use a little bit of logic here. The first thing I want to do is find out what two numbers multiply together give me 100. All right, so I mean, you actually could do this without even Desmos. I mean, you could do it Desmos. I'm going to try to do it without it. What two numbers multiply together give me 100, but when I add them, I get 20. Well, two numbers I know that give me 100 is 10 times 10. All right, so that means it's going to be x plus 10 and then another x plus 10. All right, it's because I have two of them, it should be B is my answer. Because think 10 plus 10 is 20, 10 times 20 is 20. So let me go back to the paper so you can see the full screen. So really, it should be like this, x plus 10 and then x plus 10. All right, and this little square means you write it out twice. That's what that means. It means, hey, write this out twice. All right, so that is the answer. All right, this one's a fun one to do. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this equation, it's a divide one. So we're gonna take the main one and we're gonna put it as a y equals. All right, then we're gonna do is take this that we're dividing by, x plus 3, we're going to put it in, and then we're going to fill in the blanks, fill these in until we find the answer. All right, so I'm going to minimize my screen so you can see it. So I'm going to do delete on these. All right, so I'm going to put my main one in because this is not going to change. If I can see it, let me change it here. Okay, so x equals x squared plus 2x minus 12. Okay, so there's the parabola. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Y equals open parentheses, and we're going to put this one in first. The x plus 3, you can't see it. See it? It's that one right there. We're going to put that in first. And then now I'm going to put my choices in. So I'm going to start with x minus 10. Well, that most definitely is not my answer because they're not the same. So I can backspace, and now I'll put the other one in. This is my B answer, minus 3x plus 11 minus 45 divided by x plus 3. Well, you can tell that doesn't look. See how one's going down and one's going up? That's not the same. So we know that's not my answer. I'm just backspacing here. All right, then I'm going to do x plus 5. See, I don't have to touch the x plus 3 because it's the same one every time. X plus 5 plus 3 divided by x plus 3. Oh, I put an equal sign. X plus 3. Okay, and you can see, does that look like it's the right answer? And it doesn't. That doesn't look like the right answer either. So looks like D is going to be my answer. So we're going to try it just to make sure. All right, so it's x minus 1. And then we're going to say minus 9 divided by x plus 3. All right, so look at here. And we really don't even need to put the other parentheses. But if you look, there's the blue, there's the green. And look, I'll even enlarge it so you can see it better. Look, there's the green, there's the blue. So they're exactly the same. So we know our final answer here is going to be D. I hope this helps.